Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. It's time for our weekend video again. We have some fantastic racing tomorrow from Ascot, Wetherby, Newmarket even, and Down Royal. We'll be covering Ascot, Wetherby, and one race from Down Royal on tonight's show. We did a Breeders' Cup special, or two specials, as a matter of fact, last night. We covered day one, which is getting underway in about an hour and 25 minutes if you're watching this live. And we also covered day two. You can find both of them on our YouTube page. Just the two people on tonight. Myself, Luke Elder, and Adam Webb joins me. Good evening, Adam.
Evening. Oh, it's been a fun day.
How do you celebrate Halloween in Liverpool?
I turn the lights out and then hope that nobody knocks on the door. Simple.
Because, I mean, it's the biggest shock, I'd say, is not going out and stealing stuff.
I don't do that. I'm What do you take me for? You've known me for over a year now. What do you take me for?
I should know you, but I imagine we're going to get a fair few people from Liverpool tweeting in a bit of abuse. How did your nap get on last week?
Didn't win. It got absolutely stuffed.
Who was it?
Boondoomer.
Ah, yes. I don't know. I think we should mention mine was Sondy Burley.
Yeah.
Absolutely gutting that he lost his life last week. He was touted to be one of the good ones in Nicky Henderson's yard, and they thought really highly of this horse. Just absolutely devastated that he lost his life last week. And when he got pulled up, it looked like nothing was really wrong.
That's the thing now. Yeah, it's like when I was at Aintree watching it on the big screen. And I'll mention Times Remembered as well, very quickly. But with Sonda Burley, he pulled up, and I just thought, oh, it'll be back to the drawing boards, and we'll find out. And then I see on Twitter that the screens have gone up, and then I found out about an hour later that he'd been put down. So horrible for Connections. And Times Remembered was far worse because he fell, obviously broke his leg, and got up. And I didn't see this well, obviously I saw him get up, but I thought it was fine. Because I got a message from Facebook, and it was Luke saying, "Oh no, he's broken his leg." So I looked down the track just in case you could.
Yeah.
And sadly, he was just passing the last hurdle, coming past the line, and it was just heartbreaking for Connections as well, because Emma Lavelle has not had a good time of it lately.
Neither
neither's Aidan Coleman either.
Or the owner Tim Snyder as well. We have to sort of mention him.
It was just horrible to witness, and
I think the heartwarming thing, if anything, to take out of this is that racing with the Wigmore Hall thing hasn't been covered in such a positive light in the past few months. I think we'll agree. But you were at Aintree and you saw Aidan Coleman on the verge of tears going back into the weighing room.
I stood around the winner's enclosure and I sort of looked up, and he sort of looked. He didn't want to look anybody in the eye, but he sort of looked me in the eye, and I just looked and I just knew straight away he was devastated, absolutely, because he was walking back from falling. As you can see, if you watch the race back, you'll see him and I think it was Paddy Brennan walking back, and then he obviously saw the screens up, realised it was time to remember, running straight over to see what he could do. Obviously, he couldn't do very much, but it just shows that jockeys do care. I mean, we get some that say jockeys don't care, but Aidan Coleman, and you saw as well for yourself, that he was the first person to tend to the last night as well, so they do care.
Yeah, well, it's not even just jockeys that also care. Me and the girlfriend are good friends with the lad who used to ride out Sondy Burley, and he was with him at Chepstow last week, and obviously he was absolutely devastated. But Nicky Henderson was on the verge of tears as well when he had to make the decision to put the horse down, and it's sort of a guy that's been in the sport that long. It just speaks volumes for everyone really involved in the sport, doesn't it? But
yeah.
From a somber note and probably a sad start to On the Other Hoof, so we apologise for that. But sort of tributes where they're due to Sondy Burley and Times Remembered. May they run free forever and rest in peace, fairy friends. We start off though at Ascot in the 1:45 tomorrow afternoon. It's a novice handicap chase over 2 miles 3 furlongs, and Garrett Hallish is the one that all the money's come for Robin Dickin and Charlie Post. You're a particular fan of Garrett Hallish, aren't you, Adam?
I was a huge fan of him on Chasing Debut. He jumped beautifully, made all the running. I was looking at the prices earlier, and Bet365, thank you very much. He was 7-1 earlier, and I took that with open arms, and he's now 4s. I think he'll go from the front, and I think he'll jump Be Silly tomorrow. I mean, there are some good horses in this race. I mean, you've got Cocktails at Dawn, who makes his chasing debut. Interesting that they're going for a novice handicap already with his mark. Monkey Kingdom, who was second to Southfield Theatre at Chepstow, and I think he's probably, I'll say he's a work in progress in a way that I think that he'll be one that will be winning bigger handicaps as the season progresses. And there are other horses as well, like Keltis and the Bear Trap. The Bear Trap is very interesting because with connections. I remember him being at Ascot, and I remember he was well back for a handicap hurdle. He just stopped to nothing. He was cantering it and then just stopped. He ran well at Ludlow last time out, but I'm not convinced by him. Keltis, I actually wasn't really convinced by him on Chase debut. I saw him in the flesh a few times last year and said he'd make a really good chaser, but on Chase debut, he was ponderous at times. I mean, he got better as the round went on, but I was quite concerned about him early on. But yeah, I really like Gara Hallish tomorrow, and he's my nap. We're starting early with the nap already.
You're giving that away for the end of the show, so there's no big weights that people can lay. So you'll be able to get 7-1 very soon on Betfair with everyone laying your nap. So I had a lot of time for Gara Hallish, and I mentioned to you before we came on air that my only slight worry is that on Chase debut he jumped fast, but he jumped high as well.
Mm.
And it didn't jump badly at all. He jumped absolutely superbly. But if he could just jump a little bit lower around here, then that will really help him, because he's going to be running against the higher class of horse around here with the likes of Cocktails at Dawn, Monkey Kingdom, the Bear Trap even, and Keltis. So I suppose if he jumps a bit high, he may get a little bit behind at the time, and he may be passed in the air by a few. And I'm going to side with Cocktails at Dawn, who's really highly rated at home, actually. There's a few stable tours went around, and Nicky Henderson was saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Cocktails at Dawn made it to the sort of top ranks of novice chasers. So starting off a mark of 135 should be well within him. It took his time to get winning over hurdles, however, and finally did that at Kempton last year in a handicap hurdle. Did it nicely enough, beating a horse called Kilmerby, who is a seasoned handicapper now. Then fluffed his lines completely. I think it was Chepstow last time out. Comes back here. He was always going to be a chaser, but he was considered good enough to run in the Neptune and prove no match at all for Faheen. So I'm siding with Cocktails at Dawn, Nicky Anderson and Barry Geraghty to get us started off tomorrow. I am ill. We'll move on to the 205 at Wetherby, the ORBG.com Mares Hurdle over 2 miles and 110 yards. It's competitive. It should be Aurora Destravals to lose, though, Adam.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, she looks the best horse in the race and has got so much scope for improvement this year. The only slight concern I do have, I think she wins, but a slight concern I would have is the quicker ground, although she did go on it at Aintree. But looking at the race, you're trying to find something to beat her. I mean, Emily Gray has shown some good form, was second to As I Am at the end of last season, and then was third to the tough, consistent game Little King Robin, who won today in superb style at Down Royal. On Fee has done well over the summer, but I'm not sure. And Last Supper, who we'll find out whether she was flattered or not last time out when she beat Ballybowley by 33 lengths, but I'm not sure whether that will amount to much. I mean, for all it is, the hoods helped and going over hurdles, but I'd be very, very, very concerned about even touching her tomorrow. I mean, for all we know, she could beat a 150 rate hurdle. I doubt it, though. But I think Aurora Destravals is your likely winner.
Yeah, I have to agree with Roy Destravals. Last Supper was interesting last time, wasn't it? Won by an absolute country mile, first time hood.
50-1.
It was bigger than that. It was about 80-1. I think I was working at Hills that day.
Yeah.
But
I remember that. Ballybowley's franked the form, you could argue.
Yeah, well, it's a completely different horse that turned up there. But
Yeah.
Roy Destravals, do you remember her sire, nickname?
Yes, I do remember the nickname. I was surprised. I remember when he was retired and they said he was off to stud, and I'm thinking, hang on, a 2 mile chaser's off to stud? What? I love nickname. He was a soft ground brute, and I remember fancying him for the champion chase, but they pulled him out on the day because it was too quick. Which is, I think he would have won a champion chase if he'd had his conditions, because he was just a monster on soft ground. I think I remember him winning the Paddy Power Dial-A-Bet chase at Christmas once, and he just jumped the last upsize one and just took off, and it was just sensational. I just remember them trying 3 miles with him, and that didn't go to plan. So, yeah, but nickname was a brilliant jumper, and it's good to see his progeny out in the course.
Yeah, and Aurora Destravals really should be winning tomorrow. That juvenile hurdle form is up there pretty much with the best. Should have won a Haydock behind Abracadabra Savola. Probably not a soft ground horse. I think she came there travelling really nicely and didn't go on that day. A lot of blame the ride on that occasion. I don't think that was right whatsoever. I think was it James Reevely that rode that day?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think he did anything wrong.
actually,
He just travelled
no,
well and
it was
came across.
Brian Hughes.
Brian Hughes.
Yeah,
He came across one that was too good, and Abracadabra Silver just
I,
kept on finding, kept
I
on
don't,
finding. So
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think he just bumped into one that was better. I do think Aurora Destreval may be a better horse than Abracadabra Silver. They're pretty closely matched, but I just think he got stuck in the mud and really couldn't get out of it once asked to quicken.
I
And
thought it was more on the day. I mean, in time, I obviously think Aurora Destreval will be a better horse. I just think on that day, on that ground. I mean, I think I remember Nick Williams saying that they were going for a mark in the Fred Winter, and instead they completely fluffed that, and he went up £17 for winning that the race at Haydock. So I think he had a mark of 144, and he went up to 141. So yeah,
I think it really is Aurora Destreval's race to lose, and she'd be one that a lot of people will be using in their bank as sort of short-priced accumulators for tomorrow. And she'd be a worthy member of that list. Go back down to Ascot now for the 2:20, the Burn Group Handicap Chase, a listed chase over 2 miles and 1 furlong. This sees the return of possibly one of the more exciting horses this season. Of course, Next Sensation got caught very late on in the Grand Annual to my tears, then probably over the top at Aintree last time out behind Boulder Success, beating 15 lengths, which wasn't the worst effort considering the monumental effort he put in at Cheltenham. Obviously, you remember he went off like a scalded cat that day, which is how he runs, in fairness. Dickie Johnson may have just gone a little bit too fast. It could have been that Richard Johnson couldn't hold him anyway, but he jumped superbly, and that's his real main asset. He could jump a house. He's absolutely brilliant in the air. When he unseated at Newbury, I was absolutely shocked. I was there that day, and sort of he put in, I think, 7 or 8 really good leaps, and then Tom Skidmore went out the side door, and everyone was like, all right, that's not characteristic of him, after not touching a twig for about almost half a circuit. But he got his season back on track, winning at Doncaster. He's won some nice races, and for me, I've got him down as the horse that's going to be third in the champion chase to Cider Grugy and Sprinter Sacre. He could either be good enough to sort of hand a blow on them too. That's how highly I rate this horse. 146, he's got a little bit of work to do to get up to that standard, but this race tomorrow, I can't really pick out that many dangers. I've got the main danger down as Belenos, who is another horse that I've got a lot of time for. He's a horse a lot like Next Sensation, in fairness. Travels really strongly, jumps brilliantly, doesn't go from the front, he just sits in behind. Harry Skelton rides him fantastically, and Dan Skelton is in brilliant form at the moment with his horses. So Belenos would be the danger. Of the rest, Ulk Dulan is a horse that he came to this country with quite a big reputation, but he just hasn't really gone through it. Sean Bowen taking 7 off is a huge claim, and that could help no end in this kind of race. Claret Cloak beat Next Sensation at Cheltenham, but I'm not if more conservatively ridden with Next Sensation, I really do think Claret Cloak is there for the beating, and his form since has completely deceived and gone the wrong way. So I am all over Next Sensation tomorrow, and I've actually backed him already for the champion chase. He's way about 33, so I'm hoping for a good round from Next Sensation. I'm hoping he absolutely dots up. Is he opposable tomorrow, Adam?
he could be, but I don't think he is tomorrow. I think that tomorrow he from trainer comments, he seems ready for this, and off a mark of 146. Incidentally, he was rated 145 going into Aintree, so he was put up a pound for coming 15 lengths behind Border Success, which I think is a bit weird, but he was over the top at Aintree. I think he'll improve plenty this season. I don't think he'll finish third in the champion chase. Maybe Boulder Success with the front 2 miles away from the rest. I love it if Boulder could win the champion chase, but let's leave that alone. Belenos is an interesting one. I mean, Dan Skelton is a trainer that we'll all agree is an up-and-coming trainer who's going to have an unbelievably good season. I mean, it's a shame for him that Willow Saviour misses the campaign due to injury, but I still think he's got some really nice horses. And he's also taken a few horses from horses in training sales, and he's already proven that with the ammunition, you can get some big wins. I mean, Water Warrior's an example, and he runs later on. Many Rivers to Cross interests me. The fact that Alan King has Tom Bellamy claiming 5, and he has that later on the card, but Jamie Moore takes the ride. I find that quite interesting, actually. I thought that they would have used the claim. Unless it was the owner's request, I'm not sure. Claret Cloak, as Callum says, Emma Lavelle's horses are mostly overbet. and this is one that I'd want to avoid completely. It's not that he's a bad horse; it's just that his jumping seems to have let him down more often than not. I mean, I remember his chase debut, and he was just so impressive. But since then, there have been some races which he has lost. I mean, he lost the Grand Annual by making a horrific mistake 2 out. At Aintree, he didn't jump the best, and even at Cheltenham last time out over 2.5, he was struggling from a fair way out, and he was beat before the distance was even a worry. So I'd be quite worried about him tomorrow. I think Next Sensation should win before tackling bigger and better things.
Yeah, I very much hope so as well. I think 4-1 is a massive price. About Next Sensation, we've got a couple of tweets that I'm going to read out now. Actually, Jeff Hanley says, "What's with the comment about Liverpool?" Firstly, Adam Scouse, and secondly, we usually have a guy called Tony Marto watching the video, so I always throw in a dig at Liverpool and see if he watches, because he is, like Adam, a fellow Scouser.
Jeff's also a fellow Scouser as well.
Is Jeff a Scouser as well?
Yes, he is.
Apologies, Jeff. Not sorry. And Phil Dinsdale, on the other hoof's a weatherman, we'll call him. It's raining at Santa Anita, apparently, so that will benefit a few English horses, actually. Wet Sail being one of them. Prize Exhibit, another one. Brown Panther, I suppose, would help tomorrow, but how much it's raining, I don't know.
I don't think it's raining that much. They haven't had that much forecast.
Well, we had Andrew Wright out on the show last night. He said there was rain in the forecast, but not much. So
yeah,
whether it's into the ground, that remains to be seen. But interesting for later on tonight. One thing I forgot to ask for, as I always do. At On The Other Hoof, we're a family show. We love to hear from you guys. We love to hear your fancies. We love to hear any questions that you may have, and we read each and every one of them out at the end of this show. Whether they're abusive towards Adam, whether they're the best tip in the world, we'll read them out, and we'll have a giggle at them probably while you laugh at our naps. But we'll read them out at the end of the show. You can tweet us at On The Other Hoof. We'd love to hear from you. You can get your tweets in before the end of the show. But we go to Down Royal now for their 2:30 jnwine.com champion chase. A grade 1 over 3 miles. This is a really good race, actually, I found. We got the second in the Gold Cup on his own. Boston Bob, who seems to finally be going the right way at the age of 9, ended last season really highly. First Lieutenant, who I'm adamant there's a big race in him. Rocky Creek is an up-and-coming chaser. I'll still use that for now. Maffil Yule definitely is an up-and-coming chaser. So, Adam, dissect it, please.
Right. I'm taking this on the fact that I think most of these are going to come on for the run, definitely. And I'm going to side with Maffil. I think is really interesting. I'm so pleased that Darryl Jacob, I've said it before on these shows, I'm so pleased that he's getting good rides as a freelance, and this one is probably the biggest one he's had so far. She improved the bundle last year. I remember her first chase at Cheltenham, and I looked at her in the paddock and thought, she's a chaser. And she went and proved me wrong. I mean, she ran a hell of a race at the Cheltenham Festival where she was beaten by Holywell. And then off a mark of 150 in the Topham Trophy, put in a performance that even left me stood there who had said that she had too much weight. I was gobsmacked at how well she jumped, how well she travelled, and the way she put the race to bed that day was just so impressive. And if that improvement is going to continue this season, she could easily make up into a Gold Cup horse. I think she wins this tomorrow on the basis that Boston Bob will definitely come on for the run. Rocky Creek is another that I think will come on for the run, and we'll talk about this with Silvaniaco Conti later. I think that both of them are going to come on an absolute ton for this. And Rocky Creek would not want to be winning this if his main aim is the Grand National. Why would you go and win a Grade 1 and ruin a handicap mark? I mean, his mark's too high anyway. But the race he ran in the Grand National last year was so eye-catching. He jumped, he travelled, he was coming across the Melling Road. I sort of turned to someone and went, Rocky Creek could actually win this. But then Pino the Ray just went, bye-bye. And to the pleasure of one of our usual panel members, he'll never live that down. I can't believe it. Cowdog, yeah. Road to Riches is in the wrong race, I think. I think Road to Riches should be in the 2.5 mile race where he could just go from the front, just jump. I mean, I think he will, but I'm not sure about 3 miles for him. On his own, will come on for this. And I got him wrong a lot last season. We'll not talk about the Fiestas ever again with him. I think he'll come on for the run. Tammy's Hill, fair play to them for actually coming for this race. I mean, he can't run in Hunter Chase anymore because he won a handicap hurdle. And the rules, I don't know, the rules are a bit weird, but because he won the handicap hurdle, he cannot go back Hunter Chasing. So they've decided with a mark of 135, they're going to throw him in this and see how good he is, which fair play to them, and wish him the best of luck. Relmore's not good enough. First Lieutenant you've mentioned, I think, will come in a bundle for this, because remember last year, he'd already had a run, came here, and then flopped completely behind Roy
I remember that all too well.
The small field specialist, I'll call him. It's a good money spinner for Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown, but Mafia is your likely winner, I think.
Gordon Elliott and Mouse Morris, First Lieutenant.
I was on about Roy Denis, trained by Gordon
Oh, right,
Elliott.
sorry, apologies. I watched that. I had a sort of anti-post treble going on to First Lieutenant for a nice amount of money, and just thought it was home and host before the race. And I was watching it in Ladbrokes in Victoria. It was utter devastation. For this race in particular, though, I backed Mafia Kempton last year off a mark of 137, I think it was. And Henderson's horses weren't in particularly good form at the time. It was the day that Sprinter Sacro got pulled up, and there were a few other disappointments with the likes of Gronda, where he got beat by dodging bullets. And I just thought going into it, there's no way Mafia can possibly win this. And it proves how well handicapped she was, that she did off a mark of 137, and she's proved that again and again and again. It's now rated 159 and contesting at Grade 1. And why not? You know, she's a 6-year-old. She's getting weight all round, £7 from the entire field. She's definitely going in the right direction. And if she's on song, it would take a really good one to beat her. That's sort of the line I've gone down, however, for this race. I'm not sure if she can be beat, and there will be one. Well, they will have to be ready. Road to Riches and Tammy's Hill are the only ones that will come here race fit at all. Boston Bob, he's going the right way at the end of last season. However, for me, he may just need this run. The same goes for First Lieutenant, and the same goes for On His Own. So it could just be that Mafia wins this, possibly by default, if she's anywhere near ready for this race, which I assume she is, because let's face it, Nikki Henderson, you wouldn't send a horse over to Ireland just to have a run around, and Darryl Jacob goes over to ride. I think that's a fantastic jockey booking. I think Mafia could just be the best horse in here at the weights, potentially better, the best horse overall. If she's improved at all over the summer.
She's top rated at Racing Post ratings and Time Form ratings.
Yeah, but she's only got £5 to find with Boston Bob and On His Own, who are the joint top raters. So, she's by no means disgraced in this whatsoever on ratings. She just has to run a race, I think, tomorrow to win this. And
yeah, as I said, her top and win was just sensational, and the way she travelled. I mean, she's never going to get the Grand National trip, so forget about that for her. I could see her go. I wish that there was. This is me. I wish there was a conditions race over the national fences, because she'd dominate that, personally, in my view. Although that'd be more race over national fences, people thinking me being greedy, but
it's always a national race with you. But yeah, I'm definitely with Mafia for win purposes. Back to a disappointing turnout of a race now. The 240 at Wetherby, the Bet365 hurdle, as we know it, the West Yorkshire hurdle. Grade 2 over 3 miles and 1 furlong. Just the 3 go to post this year, and the odds-on favourite at Fisher's Cross. Cole Harden's also in there, and Medinas brings up the field. You were very sweet on Cole Harden as a novice hurdler, and he wasn't great behind beat that when we last saw him at Aintree. He'll have to improve for this, but it wouldn't be out of the question, would it? And he's been fairly strongly backed.
Yeah, well, he was 5-1 earlier outside of 3, and again, I decided, thank you, Mr. Bet365, so I went in again, and within 10 minutes, I went back and he was 7-2. So, although they're at level weights, and he's got £12 to find with at Fisher's Cross, I think there is improvement there. His second to beat that showed that 3 miles is no issue for him. And also to remember, he was stride for stride with Faheen coming down the hill, and he only faded after the second last, where he looked a bit one pace, and I think 3 miles is his trip. He was originally in my 20 to follow list that I wrote earlier in the year, but then I found out he was staying hurdling, and I took him out because I already had beat back for this category. Although in saying that, I had a load of novice chasers, but I was really excited about him because he's got to go left-handed. 2.5 to 3 miles off a fence would suit him brilliantly. But I just think tomorrow, he's got to find out. And Gavin Sheehan, I think, is one of the best front-running jockeys over the National Hunt. I mean, he's got a brilliant clock in his head. And with big doubts
Got a brilliant what in his head?
Clock.
Oh, clock, right, okay.
Yeah. What was I going to say? But at Fisher's Cross, At 2 to 5, I could not have him because earlier in the week they said that they were only going to run if the ground was anywhere near soft, and it's not. Plus, if you remember what happened last year, and he took a couple of runs to actually get the ring rustiness out, I'd be really worried about him tomorrow. And I think that Cole Harden goes from the front. He jumps well from the front as well. I think he could get these into a lot of trouble. Medinas ran in the race last year, but to be fair to him, the race last year was full of staying chasers, and he got done by Tidal Bay on the line. And I think he's a very good handicapper. I don't think really of him as a graded hurdler. He is very good, but I don't think he's as good as Cole Harden. And for those reasons, I think Cole Harden is a bet tomorrow against at Fisher's Cross.
I'm not going to say Medina's regressed last year, but probably didn't just go through on what he promised.
He improved through the handicap ranks, and I mean he won the Coral Cup obviously, but I'm not sure with him. I mean he went well fresh last year, but I just think Cole Harden, he will be ready for this as well because Warren Greytrex wanted to see what route to go down this year with him. So and he was reported in the press saying we're more forward than you normally would be with these horses. So that's another reason why I like Cole Harden.
Medina started off last year when losing out to Tidal Bay, and Medina's probably should have won that race. He completely threw it away by going left-handed in the closing stages, and Tidal Bay, quite frankly, just outstayed him, which is no bad thing because Tidal Bay would get about 10 miles. At Newbury, behind Celestial Halo, who absolutely dominated that race, was beating 17 lengths. So taking that form into sort of literally, it's an okay run. But then 7th in the wild hurdle behind more of that, and then I thought he was going to get his career back on track and win at Sandown. I think it was 2 mile 6 conditions hurdle, or I think just a listed hurdle, and got beat 11 lengths by Southfield Theatre, finishing 5th of 5. So Medina's has got a lot of questions to answer tomorrow, and I think it's probably the worthy outsider of 3. At Fisher's Cross is a horse that I would never like to bet odds on. He's another one, didn't go through with what he promised last season. There may have been a few excuses for that, but at 4 to 7 for tomorrow, I'm not sure at all. And I didn't think I'd be doing this actually, but I'm going to have to side with Cole Harden and Adam. He's hopefully will give a good boost to that form at Aintree. But again, like Matthew, it's almost by default. I don't want to back at Fisher's Cross at that price. And Medina's, for me, is possibly regressive. He'll probably go out and absolutely bolt up tomorrow. But Cole Harden's a really tough front running type, so he'll get his own way out in front. Gavin Sheehan, hold on to him, kick, catch me if you can. And it would not surprise me if Cole Harden can just steal it from the front tomorrow. I don't think by any stretch of imagination he's the best horse in the field. I think at Fisher's Cross on his day he could beat most 3 mile hurdlers. However, tomorrow, I think it could just be Cole Harden's day, and this could be his big day of the season. It's
I get it. Although I had another idea for Cole Harden, I wish they'd waited and gone for that fixed brush hurdle off 150 at Haydock. 3 miles on a flat track round Haydock would suit him ideally from the front.
But would he get a soft lead in that?
No, he wouldn't, but he went from the front in the Aintree race and in Cheltenham as well, with competitive field behind him, and he didn't. At Aintree, he battled back against Beatbat. I know Beatbat won easily, but he didn't lie down, which is what I really like in a horse. And he battled back, but I thought he was a sitting duck at the top of the straight. So to finish as close as he did to Beatbat is whole credit to the horse. And they were 29 lengths clear of Seaward at Midnight, who was a horse that I really like as well. So it was a hell of a good run. So, I really like Cole Harden tomorrow. I did contemplate him as a nap, but I thought in a 3-runner race it's a bit risky.
Well, thanks to the weight of your tenor, he's no longer outsider of 3, so we can't use that old wise tale. And one race that will probably be a bit more difficult to get our way through is the 3 o'clock at Ascot, the William Hill Handicap Hurdle, a listed race over 2 miles. Sign of a Victory has been strongly backed, and a lot of people are tipping him up on Twitter this evening. Sign of a Victory, Adam, if a chance in this race off for a mark of 139.
I think that mark could potentially be a gift. I mean, when you've got Get Me Out of Here in here, who's clearly here for just a run round to get the handicap mark down, Sign of a Victory could be well.
I don't know what you're implying.
I'm not implying anything. It was 4 years. Actually, can I give you a fun story? It was 4 years ago tomorrow in this very same race that Lydia and Steve made some comments about AP maybe not trying as much as he should, and yeah, it all blew up, and yeah.
And to this day,
he'll be here for the day out and enjoy the scenery, and if he wins
love
tomorrow,
the
I
horse.
will be amazed. I love the horse too.
I'll
But he's
never
here
get
for the
over
day out.
him. I'll never get over him not winning the Coral Cup last year.
I don't think many people will. Brilliant right from Nico de Boinville on Whisper though. Anyway, Sign of a Victory was very unlucky last time out at Ayr. This is his handicap debut. He got beat by Vibrato Voltat, and that was because the loose horse took him off the track. And if it had gone to a battle with Vibrato Voltat, we all know there's going to be one winner. Off that mark, it's a potential gift. However, I do think there's more value in this race. I mean, 7-4 is a short enough price. I'm a big fan of Mountain King, actually, who didn't get the pace he wanted at Cheltenham last time out, and he just pulled for 1.5 miles. And he came down the hill in front, and then he just blew up. And I thought that was a really eye-catching run. I think with a stronger pace here, he could be pretty dangerous and could even give the favourite a lot to think about. And the other, I know Luke's going to talk about this horse. Violet Dancer, I think, is overpriced as well. And connections with Krispy Kreme were really well in this race 12 months ago. Just looking at the rest of them, I don't like Darwalan at all. He's just a horse that he was hyped up for the Fred Winter last year, and I just never was sold by him. And
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
At Chepstow last time out, he was second, but was very, very, very flattered when every other jockey, bar Harry Skelton, gave their horse a shockingly bad ride, and they let him 20 lengths clear, and he was never going to be caught. And Bertimont got raised £8 for that, which I thought was ridiculous. But anyway, I don't really rate Darwalan as a horse, and
I do not get Darwalan's hype. I mean, obviously there was a lot from the yard last year, but it's, I don't know. It's just it's the same type as Vendor. Vendor was hyped up for Fred Winter.
I backed Vendor as well.
I did as well.
An absolute good thing.
Yeah.
I never got in the hype. It's basically what it is. Some of these horses get really attractive handicap marks, and people latch themselves on because they're big yards. Some of them deliver, some of them don't. And Darwalan for me was one that didn't deliver. So
he hasn't really shown much to me to signify that he'd be better than 130.
I also, as well, he didn't jump very well at Chepstow, I don't think. He just stayed on through beating horses to get second. So I don't really like Darwalan, if I'm being honest.
I just think he's too small to be a hurdler in effect. It's a lot of effort for him to get from one side to the other. He jumps okay, but I don't know. It might be a bit harsh of us, but personally, I'm not really signed up to the Darwalan fan club, and I know there are a lot of people in that club, but it's just not for me. Personally, Laser Blaze is a horse that I've liked on the flat. However, he's got to contend with a pretty big hike in the weights. One last time off a mark of 117. Uriah Heep was behind that. He's since gone and won, albeit over fences, but 117 up to 132. Tom Bellamy takes 5 off. It's a bit of a big ask, and plus the 2 races that he won were sort of non-events really. They were small field races. This is a true handicap, and he'll be really tested tomorrow. If he's going to be a good handicapper, then this is where you're going to find out with him. Sign of a Victory obviously has to get a lot of respect. Was a very good horse last year, and as Adam says, 139 could be a real gift of a handicap mark, and the betting would suggest that it is. He's already been backed on us for 9-4 early. He's 7-4 now, so a bit of support behind him. Kilcooley is another horse I like, and actually ran against the new one about a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah. But for me, I just feel that he wants to go faster all the time, and he didn't really jump with much fluency. But if they go a good clip here, then that will really play into Kilcooley's hands, because he's a fairly headstrong horse, so it would help him relax. And I still have in my mind that he's a better horse than 135. So for me, Kilcooley is a danger about 12-1. But I'm a big fan of Violet Dancer. I'll be an even bigger fan when he finally goes chasing. But in the Fred Winter last year, if he got hampered once, he got hampered about 6 times, and he did very, very well to finish 10th. In fairness, then went to Aintree. It's probably one run too much in high class behind Guitar Pete. It was a decent enough race anyway, but it just looked a race too much. He'd had a long season by that point, and he just wanted to go away for his summer break. He came back behind Tiger Roll and Calypto, and didn't run the worst race in fairness. Was still there, albeit still had about 15 lengths, possibly 15 to 20 lengths to make up at the second last, and fitness probably took its toll. Jamie Moore looked after him, and in the end he got passed by Ballyglassheen and game last of the 4. But only beaten, well, he was beaten 19 lengths that day. I say only. It's quite a long way to get beaten. But Tiger Roll didn't get the chance to frank the form today. He got pulled up before anything, before he could really get competitive. And we hope Tiger Roll's okay on the back of that. Calypso is also a very good horse. So their potential sort of, I'm going to say champion hurdle classes in sort of in handicaps and sort of listed races. So that form still might be something to take into account here. Violet Dancer is going to be much better for that run. Off a mark of 130, I still think he could do some damage off of that. I saw 20 to 1 earlier on. I'm now seeing 12. So he's been backed, which is always a positive sign from Gary Moore's yard. And as Adam alluded to earlier, Chris P. Green ran in this race last year. And we all know how highly Chris P. Green is rated by them now, and he's going to make into a nice novice chaser. But Violet Dancer, for me, I think, is one that a few people might overlook as regards to tomorrow's race. But we go to Wetherby now, the Charlie Hall, or Bet365 Charlie Hall Chase, a Grade 2 over 3 miles and a furlong. It's got the return of a certain wayward Silviniaco Conti, who I don't think he'd won the Gold Cup last year. I think we're agreed on that before swerving to his right. And he did the same thing twice at Aintree when winning the Betfred Bowl. And for me, that's becoming a tendency for him, and it's not a good tendency whatsoever, and it only seems to be on left-handed tracks, which here at Wetherby, left-handed track, he could be vulnerable to doing the same thing again. 174 is clearly the best horse in the race, and it's well, for me, at the moment, it's not a race that's got too much depth. Menora, in my mind, is sort of a late-season horse and blooms on faster ground. Medemi is a horse that I've got a lot of time for and really do like. However, he needs to prove that he's back to his best that we saw a few seasons ago. Obviously, he's been off for a season with injury. He came back last season, ran well enough, ran a really good race in the Punchestown Gold Cup behind Boston Bob. If he can take another step forward from that, he'd be a player here, because Alan King seems to be readying his horse's first time out. 2 horses that won't need to be ready, Double Ross and Takan de Soy. Double Ross I think he's got officially marked down as he fell. Very, very unfair on that one.
October would be the term I'd use.
Yeah, Colour Squadron absolutely battered him out of the way at the fence, and he had absolutely no chance. He didn't even make a mistake at the fence. Adam Webb? God, no, Adam Webb's not right. Adam Wedge.
I hope not. I've not had the phone call yet.
Yeah, well...
That'd be an exciting debut ride. I don't think I'll be able to claim £10, unfortunately, so...
Yeah. You starve yourself overnight, you'll be fine. Adam Wedge is a very interesting jockey booking, though, for Nigel Twiston-Davis. Obviously, Sam's over in Ireland, so he won't be able to take the ride on Double Ross. Adam Wedge isn't really a jockey that I expected to see up for Nigel Twiston-Davis, but nonetheless a jockey that I rate very much. 3 miles 1 for Double Ross. I don't know. I'm open to it. Tomorrow's a watching brief for me with him. And Takan de Soy, I've never really signed up again to the argument that he's a Gold Cup horse. We'll find a lot more out about him tomorrow. He was in the Paddy Power, obviously opted to come here. He's had his prep run at Newton Abbot. That'll put him straight. And if he is a Gold Cup horse, he really has to be pushing Silviniaco Conti close here tomorrow. I don't really want to make a selection. Is that bad?
No, because I'm of the same view. I couldn't, if there's a horse in the race I'm trying to nail my colours to, I found it really hard to. Anyway, I think if Double Ross, if I was riding, you'd have more chance of Nicholas Parton on apart from me. So, yeah. Good old Nicholas. The thing with this race, though, you have to take on trust at 5 to 4 that Paul Nicholls has got Silviniaco Conti at a fitness level that can win this race. And I'm not sure he has. I guess he had a racecourse gallop last week, I know, but Nicholls has underestimated how fit some of his horses are, and some of them, I saw at Aintree last week, some of them really, really needed the run. I mean, Cat Gary is the main example for me. He travelled well and then stopped, and he looked beforehand to really, that he really needed the run. And there were others as well throughout the weekend. I mean, some of them were finishing close up, and I'm quite surprised. And you're thinking that some are more forward than others, and I don't know. I'm worried about Conti tomorrow. If he wins tomorrow, fair enough, but he's not, for me, at a backable price. And I had to back the horse at 7 to 4 for somebody earlier in the week who said, here's a tenner, I haven't got a Paddy Power account. And they're like, do I really have to back this horse? Yep. Oh, okay. So if I don't get the money back, I don't think it will, personally. I just think that he'll need this. The Betfair Chase and the King George are the two main early season targets. I'd rather back him in the Betfair now. But then again, he could easily lose tomorrow and his price could go out a slight bit, but I don't think it'll go out too much because they've got bigger targets. Takanda Soy, I've gone on enough about this horse and saying that he can't jump fences and he went and proved me wrong at the festival with Eustace next to me laughing at me.
It's pretty
He's
fun,
interesting. I'm interested to see him over 3 miles. I'll be honest there, but he'll be more straight for the run from Newton Abbott. But again, his jumping's got to stand up, and I'm dubious about him. I always will be over fences. Unless there's a day where he actually goes out, pings everything, then maybe it'll change my mind. But at the moment, I'm still on the fence with Takanda Soy. Minora, I agree with you, as a late season horse, but he could easily run well here, and his best form suggests that he could. Medami is another, but fitness is another thing for me. I think with these older horses, getting them back and getting them fit is a lot harder than it is getting a younger horse fit. And you know these horses inside out, whereas with a novice, you want to know what you've got, as opposed to you know your seasoned horses inside out. You know when they're going to be best and when to strike. So Medami, I can take a lead. If I had to have a selection in the race, it would be the Giant Bolster. I did consider putting up Wayward Prince each way if it was 8 runners, but there's only 7 runners, so I don't really want to do that. Now, the Giant Bolster interests me in the fact that he's got a first-time hood and Jason Maguire takes a ride. I know this isn't Cheltenham, but I've got a feeling that they're expecting a big run from him tomorrow. I could be completely wrong, but I think this is a winnable race for a horse like him, and I jokingly said to the person that asked me to put the money on for Silvaniaco Conti, I was like, why would you want to back Silvaniaco Conti when a horse that beat him in the Gold Cup is 10-1? His reply was, yeah, but Conti's beaten him twice before. I was like, oh, well. But yeah, if I had to put something up in the race, it'd be the Giant Bolster. But I will say this is Wayward Prince's Gold Cup. I'm not going to put him up, but he will be the only horse there I will say will be 100% tomorrow. I know his mark's 142, but he's ran well in this race before, and he nearly won it a year ago. I remember saying, oh, it's not a bad Charlie Hall, and you looked at me and went, it's rancid, and I kind of agree now, it was a pretty poor race.
Yeah.
Probably because I had a really soft spot for Harry Topper and Union East. I still have that soft spot for Harry Topper, who needs soft ground, and he was never going to get it here. And Union East, I don't know where he is at the minute. So the selection is the Giant Bolster, but I'd be worried about Silvaniaco Conti and his fitness levels.
Another horse that was going really well in Charlie Hall last year before coming down was Master of the Hall. I saw it might even be an Air. He's got his seasonal reappearance over in a handicap hurdle, I think.
He's been running all the summer. He won a handicap at Market Raisin in August. So,
but his seasonal reappearance after 74 days off, so it's not really that much of a break. But I am going to put a selection up, and I'm going to put a tentative one for Medami in a hope that he comes back to his best form. I wasn't a fan of him as a novice whatsoever, and I sort of just was coming round to his way of thinking. And at one point, I thought he was going to run a big race in something like a King George, but then obviously injury struck. He was out for the season, and he's come back and he showed glimmers of his former self. And if he is ready for tomorrow, I think he could take a bit of beating. I think he's a big enough price as well. I'm just at that price, Silvaniaco Conti, with the way Nichols horses are needing it first time out, and this obviously is nowhere near his aim this season. They want to win the Betfair Chase with him, and then go on to the King George where he can be beaten by Simonsy. But I don't know. This screams prep run for me tomorrow, and if he wins, fair enough. If he doesn't, then he'll be a better horse in the Betfair. Just got price-wise through. Apparently, it's not Tom Segal today. I'm not sure who it is. But he's gone for Alt Dulan in the 220 at Ascot, and then he's got 2 in the upcoming race at Ascot, the 335, Midnight Appeal and Ardkilly Witness. So he's gone for 2 horses in a 15-runner race. Ardkilly Witness and Midnight Appeal are both down in the handicap. Obviously, Tom Bellamy taking off a further 5 from Midnight Appeal, but it's a 3-mile handicap chase, the United House Gold Cup. And one horse that I had thought was a Gold Cup horse is Katenko at the top of the weights. It's not really happened for him. He had a serious bout of colic, and we almost lost him at one point. But reports are that at home he's been absolutely flying. He's never been better. So with them reports, if you take them into real consideration, Adam, Katenko would have to be a player.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his best run last year was in the Peter Marsh, where he was fourth to Witchwood's Brook, and that race will for on the other hoof watches from a long time ago when we put 6 up out of 10 in a race and not one of them can win, and there's something really wrong with the way we look at races. I think Atenko, if these vibes are true, I think he could run a huge race tomorrow, and he's gone well fresh in the past before, but he's best watch for me tomorrow. I think you probably have the same sentiments, maybe not. I think you were saying earlier that you'd rather watch him tomorrow than have a bet. The way I'm looking at this race, if Lebec is a Gold Cup horse, he should be winning tomorrow. Handicap mark or not, he should be winning tomorrow. Off a mark of 149, Emma Lavelle really rates this horse, and he was still going well in the RSA at the top of the hill when he came down. Whether he'd have won or not, I don't know, but I think he would have definitely played a big hand in the finish. This is, I think, his first big target's the Hennessy, but I'd like to see him win this before going to the Hennessy. His handicap mark may go up substantially depending on how he wins this, if he does. I can see I can see the angle with Arkilly Witness. He goes really well right-handed, and he actually ran really well at Cheltenham behind Olzana's raid. And I was surprised at that because I remember Richard Newland before the bet.
Whoa.
His Royal Highness, Dr. Richard Newland, KBE, he said before his Sandown run that he had to go right-handed. So I was quite surprised to see him run so well at Cheltenham. Sorry, Callum, for that. He'll be watching later. I can see the angle with him, and he was as big as 16s earlier. He's now as short as 6-1, which is crazy. Roalco the Farge is a horse that I've liked a lot, and it turns out that he doesn't say stamina trip, so he won't be going 4 mile plus this year. And he won really well at Cheltenham last time out, and I think he could be a type for the Hennessy with his record around Newbury, and I think he'll run well again tomorrow. I'm going to ignore Merry King. That horse is just... You called me an idiot for putting him up in the Haydock Grand National Trial, and you said anybody that puts him up is an idiot, and then 7 weeks later in the Scottish National, who did you put up? Merry King.
And where did he come?
He came 4th.
For each way money, there we go.
Okay, well, he was unlucky at Haydock, though. He got hampered 2 or 3 times and then just couldn't get into a rhythm.
I think you just proved that I'm an absolute judge, so...
No, not really. Merry King is just a bit of a... Merry King just finds it very hard to win.
Anyone who's backed Merry King and has got money back from it, they have my respect, so...
I've never backed Merry King and won money. The only time I backed him was in the...
The
only time I backed him was in the Haydock Grand National Trial when I thought he was going to win. I thought it was a race made for him.
And you napped
I did nap him as well, going for the nap trick. I'm going to mention 2 others in the race. I quite like Black Thunder having had the run, and I think this is his trip, and I'm interested that they're going in this and before the Hennessy. I think the Hennessy's been muted as a target. And the last horse I'm going to have to mention him. If Cantlow finishes in the first 4, I will be doing the biggest dance you'll ever imagine, because that means he'll be qualified for the Grand National, and the dream to Aintree 2015 is on the way. So, Lebec, I think, is your likely winner. I'm going to put this a selection. I'm going to say Black Thunder each way, and if Cantlow finishes in the first 4, happy days.
Yeah. Well, it's Black Thunder as well. I have to mention tongue-tied first time. I don't think that was the problem last time out. I just think it was a prep run in all respect to the word. Lebec, I'd love to see win, if not for Emma Lavelle, if not for Tim Sider, the owner. Tim Sider obviously lost some very good horses the past year. We mentioned Times to Remember earlier on. Killyglass at the start of last season, the last night a few weeks ago. He's had no luck whatsoever as an owner. He deserves to have a real good horse, and Lebec could be that. And for me, I wouldn't have him as a Gold Cup horse. I just think he lacks a little bit of toe for that. I remember he got beat by Sam Winner of Fences, and just thought, I'm not 100% sure he's sort of top class, if you understand that.
Are you suggesting he's an Aintree horse?
Possibly.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's possible. He jumps brilliantly. I've got no problems with that. He jumps really well. So he fell last time out in the RSA, but he jumps really well. So there's no problem with that. He potentially could be an Aintree horse. Vino Grego is one that I think everyone loves. He's an enigmatic character. He's only 9 as well. I thought he seems much older than that, but he's sort of found his way in the past couple of seasons. He may need it tomorrow. However, going down the field, Rauka Defarge surprised me last time when he won. I thought he'd be another one that would need the run. And as Adam said, the Hennessy's possibly going to be his target. You imagine something back at Newbury because he absolutely adores it there. For Raraka Defarge, Jeffrey Chambertin didn't really impress last time out. He sort of the race fell into his lap, and he hasn't gone on whatsoever from what was early, what he was early regarded as. I think you'd be a brave man to back him off the mark of 139. He still has to really prove himself. Of the rest, I have to give a mention to Restless Harry. Actually, I've called this horse every single name under the sun, and he has proved me wrong. I hold my hands up. I was completely wrong. I didn't think he was a chaser whatsoever, but fair play to Robin Dick. He's got a real tune out of Restless Harry over the past year. And at one point, I actually thought he was going to win the Argento last season. He's travelling really well at the top of the hill, and I thought, okay, this would be odd. But he sorted his jumping out in a big way, and he just seems back in love with the game, in fairness. Last season, he ran a brilliant race in the Better 365 Gold Cup, so stamina is absolutely no issue whatsoever. If his jumping can hold up once more, he'd be a real player in this, although he would have to put in a career best effort. I'm going to side with Katenko, though, unfortunately.
Do you need me to be stood at Dover tomorrow evening to pull you back off the cliff, or...?
I won't be backing Katenko. I'm just going to put him up as a selection.
All right.
But if he is better than ever at home, then 16-1 could look a big price off a mark of 155. And I did hold him as a Gold Cup horse at the start of last season. That quickly went wrong. I thought he was travelling really well in the Hennessy before falling, which is very uncharacteristic of him because he jumps absolutely brilliantly usually. But he does have to bounce back. As I said earlier on, we almost lost him to a severe bout of colic. I think it was in 2013. So it would be great to see Katenko bounce back to form, and I will be siding with Katenko tomorrow. And that, I am dying, really dying here. I know, I feel sorry for me. That brings us to the end of the races we're going to be covering on Channel 4. Is there any other particular races you want to mention tomorrow, Adam?
I think Kai Wills asked a question about Wonderful Charm. I'd like to have a little look at that race. It's the second season race, which is why I was mentioning Road to Riches for it earlier. You've got Wonderful Charm, you've got Don Cossack, you've got Carlingford Lock, and you've got the outsider, name escapes me.
Bernatone,
that's it. I think Wonderful Charm, he's going for 7 out of 7 for Paul Nicholls. There's had 6 runners in the race, and they've all won. But some of them names, I heard some of the listening to. I'll give the Final Furlong pod a plug. Emmett gave us a retweet earlier, so I'll give them a plug. Rory Delagi listed the 6 horses that have won the race. And some of them you actually think, what on earth did their careers come to? I mean, he listed Here Comes the Truth, who was a fantastic jumper of a fence, but what happened to him? It's just, I don't know, it's a bit of a graveyard for some Nicholls horses.
He went down the Hunter Chase route, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He ran in the Topham. I've been waiting for years for him to run over the Grand National fences, but by the time he ran over the fences, he was too old. And Michael Andrews asked a question. We'll answer that in a bit. I hate the guy. I think Wonderful Charm should win this. I think Don Cossack wants further. Carlingford Lock, I also think wants further. I think this is Wonderful Charm's trip and going for 7 out of 7. And he's also had a run as well, so there's something to be confident about.
Yeah, I agree with Wonderful Charm, actually. I've been looking for the race, and Don Cossack for me needs further. Wonderful Charm needs further. However, he's probably will be more at home in the trip than Don Cossack and Carlingford Lock. But yeah, Wonderful Charm for me. Personally, I'm going to draw a light to the last at Wetherby. It's a 3-runner race, but Blakemount is one of my horses to follow. I think 6-4 is a fantastic price for him, and it will be taken to fences, and I'm quite excited about him personally for Sue Smith and Ryan Mania. So Blakemount in the last at Wetherby tomorrow. Jesus.
I think that's a good race, actually. I think Luke's dying, so I'll talk for a minute. Oh, he's dying. Oh dear. Rest in peace. This is the show where we lose our first host.
Who's the new host?
Is it me? Oh no.
God no.
God no. Callum, he did a good job when you were absent. But then again, Michael's not done it yet, so we'll let him have a go. Yeah, the 420 at Wetherby, I think, is a good race. I do think Blake Mount, if he's ready, I think should be taking all the beating here. I mean, Kaisersberg won last time out at Wetherby in a handicap hurdle and doing fine when on Chase debut at Foster's, beating Carol's Destrier, who's a horse that me and Luke both like. I hope Blake Mount's ready for this, and I think 3 miles will prove to be his trip, and he should be very hard to beat.
Right, question time before I actually do die. Kai Wills, banker, Aurora Destreval, John Quinn horse. Do you pile in on Aurora Destreval? I think she should win.
She should win. We say that, but there's never such thing as there's never such thing as a certainty in horse racing. But I think she's got the most improvement out of all of them, so she's your likely winner.
Yeah. Phil Dinsdale, tomorrow's Lucky 15, Tack Under Soy, Shadowpaw, Monkey Kingdom, and Ardkilly Witness.
Good luck to him. I'm messing, so you're probably better than us. So
not for me. Yeah, he's been in decent form the past few weeks. Kai also said to you, Adam, I love the Emperor Ming haircut. Flash. I'm not going to sing it.
Someone has finally noticed a T-shirt. Well done, Kai. I don't know. I asked for questions, and now we're getting some really stupid questions. Apparently, we answer every single question on this show, so this is going to be interesting.
We do, unfortunately. Luca Coppa has said, did you do a sweepstake in the end? We did, but the Melbourne Cup is Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Actually, it's a good time to advertise it. Thank you for reminding me, Lucas.
No, Luca.
Luca. Oh, he's not Italian. He's not Luca Camani.
I've spoke to him in person, and he prefers Luca Coppa.
Oh, fair enough. All right, then.
He prefers our name.
Fair enough, then. All right, then. We have a Melbourne Cup preview on Sunday night, and we are doing a sweepstake like we did with the Melbourne Cup last year and the Grand National. If you would like to enter it, just tweet my tent or yours, because he's running the include on the other hoof in the tweet as well, but mainly aim it at Michael.
Yeah.
Because he's running it and he's got the list of people so far. He hasn't told us the list yet, so we've seen people tweet about it, but just send it to him so he can tally it up. And we need 24. Well, we need 20 because there's 4 of us and 20 other people. So yeah, if you want to enter the Melbourne Cup preview sweepstake, feel free to.
Yeah. We are very close to making this show bang on an hour long. Jeff Handley has said the Warren Great Tricks Yard are in great form. 24 winners from 66 runners, and they are 6 from 11 at Wetherby. So a decent stat with Warren Great Tricks there. Obviously, has Cole Harden at Wetherby. Tom Eaton's Lucky 15 for tomorrow, different Lucky 15. Next Sensation, good man. Tack and the Soy, Boston, Bob and Carlin Pidlock. I wouldn't disagree too much with that, in fairness. I think they've all got very realistic chances.
Yeah, just Boston Bob for me. I think he'll come on for the run. And
yeah, I agree with that. Pigeon has said, could I be mad considering Venetia, despite the ground being on the good side, it's November, which is
her time.
Venetia time. For Ascot for the same owner.
Yeah. My lucky colours, they are. Yeah. If I nap them colours, they win. But I'm not napping them colours tomorrow, so I don't think they'll win. All right. Good old chaps. Give us a reset.
Play to win. Your best bet for the weekend. Jumps, flat, European, US, anywhere. What is your best bet for the whole entire weekend?
Oh, I don't know. Because there's a few as well. I mean, we really like Anadin in the Breeders' Cup Mile. I also like Flintshire. I like Gareth Hallish tomorrow. I like Tom Harden. Take any of them. It's a brilliant weekend action. You've got something for everyone tomorrow. We've got some good racing at Newmarket tomorrow as well. That reminds me, Callum's nap as well. We need to read out. So
yeah, we'll get to naps in a second, and we'll probably come back to that question. In fairness, Michael Andrews, thanks for not turning up tonight, Michael. He's in the panto. He's paying both of the Ugly Sisters in that panto. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck chuck?
No, I don't know.
He's written that wrong. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Right. 7 bars.
Yeah, okay with that.
Then he's coming with more questions. Do fish get thirsty? No. They live in water. Dipstick. Michael Andrews again. Does a man-eating shark also eat woman too? No, he does not eat woman too. So, Michael, you are safe if you swing around man-eating sharks. Sean, why does E equals MC squared? That is a long story for another day, Sean, I'm afraid. So we'll answer that on the science edition of On the Other Hoof that's coming up in the next few never. Michael Andrews again, why do we need training bras? What can we teach them? I think you'd be more of an expert on wearing bras, Michael, so I think you should be the one to answer that for us. How do mermaids make babies? I think, again, that's a story for another day on the sex ed.
Oh my god! Oh no!
That show would just be Adam talking to the camera really close up, telling you everything he knows from his sex education days back in school.
Oh god!
And
Michael Andrews, do Roman paramedics refer to IVs as pores? No.
No, because they're all dead. Right, that's us done for the night. Thanks to Michael, we went a little bit over the 1 hour time slot. We hope you have an enjoyable. No, we don't. We do not. Naps. We do not hope you have a good Halloween. Have a horrible one. My nap, I'm going with his next sensation at Ascot tomorrow, and I think he's also the bet of the weekend for play to win.
Gara Hallish for me is the nap. Callum's, I'm just getting up now.
Excel's Diamond.
That's the one at Newmarket. We didn't get any reasons why, but if Callum gives a nap, just trust it.
You listen. Yeah. But thank you to everyone for watching tonight, and don't forget, if you were looking for a Breeders' Cup preview, we did that last night. We got a Day 2 Breeders' Cup preview on our YouTube channel, and if you want to have a quick listen to the races for tonight, we've also got the Day 1 preview up. The first race, or first Breeders' Cup race of this year, is up in about 22 minutes as we speak, so you can still got a little bit of that. We had Andrew Rideout on, who gave an American angle along with Candice Hare, so we had a bit of a balanced argument this time around. So you can watch Day 1 and Day 2 on our YouTube channel. We'll be back on Sunday at an unconfirmed time. You can check our Twitter feed at OnTheOtherHoof for that. Then we'll be previewing the Melbourne Cup. We also have a sweepstakes, so you can tweet Michael Andrews at MyTenOrYours to get involved in that. And that is pretty much it. So we will see you on Sunday, hopefully, for a Melbourne Cup preview. But until then, chaps, have a good Halloween, have a great Breeders' Cup, and goodbye.
Bye.